Hello governors, I'm the Honey Badger and it's time to start the Zero to Legendary Guide series. A series that will prepare you to be self-sufficient in Legendary game mode. Expect the guides to go in depth, therefore it will be a long video and it will be chapterized. Please expand the video description to see all of the chapters and jump to the ones that you're interested in. For now, let's kickstart this video with the UI guide. Let's start with the new game settings that you can't change once you've started. In order to access them, you need to press escape and then go to game setup. In here, you're gonna go at the difficulty and then click to edit. Then edit over here. In here, you're also going to see the no tutorial, full tutorial or new features only. I've seen some Redditors not being aware of this and they didn't know how to turn off the tutorial. Well, that's how you can do it. Also, you cannot change the goods consumption once you started a new game. The next thing you cannot change once the game is started is that you will not be able to edit the game starting conditions. So whatever you placed first, that's what you're stuck with. It doesn't matter anything else. Then, in the game world, you cannot change anything about the game world, so once it's set up, it will forever be the same. And the last thing that you cannot change at all is the pirates. You can activate the pirates, but deactivating them, it will never be possible. And everything related to the pirates, like the war fleet or how much the patrols will reach or stuff like that, it cannot be changed once the game started. Therefore, be very, very careful what you're playing with. Also, don't worry if you're going to defeat a pirate. You can come over here back and reactivate the pirate once it's defeated if you want the extra challenge to come back. And lastly, the last thing that you cannot change currently is the Emperor. The only way to change the Emperor to the other Emperor is to go against the Emperor, rival him, challenge him, delete his 40 ships waves that he's going to send your way, and afterwards you can change the Emperor to a easier one. Similarly, you can switch back and forth between the Emperors as long as you start defeating them as much as possible. Now, before we go into the UI and keyboard shortcuts, I just want to quickly mention that we're solely focusing on modern keyboard layout. We're not going to touch legacy at all. We're going to start from the center top over here and move counterclockwise. At the top, you got your profile picture. From here, you can access everything that you need from the statistics point of view. The shortcut key, as it's mentioned over here, is Ctrl Q. Once you access the statistics, you're gonna see everything that is produced on the island you are currently on. As we can see over here, Minerva 1 is selected. You can select the entire province, namely Latium, and it will allow you to see all productions grouped together, or you can select the entire world and see exactly what is needed for every single production. The next tab is governance. Over here, basically, it will tell you the balance of people, the income that you're having, etc. We're not going to go deep into this. The last thing is effects. It will show you all of the effects that you have on your islands. If you're going to select a single island, of course, only the effects present on that island will be displayed over here. Next tab is Hall of Fame. Basically, from here, you can buy stuff to improve your gameplay if Hall of Fame is activated at the beginning of the game. Be careful, at the moment of the recording, the free starter gods, namely Neptune, Ceres, and Mars, are in Hall of Fame. They are automatically unlocked at the beginning of the game. However, there is a bug that will not allow you to start a new game with Hall of Fame deactivated and still have access to these free gods. Well, maybe in the future Ubisoft will fix this bug, who knows. And the last tab in here is related to your quests. Basically, this is some kind of way to get rewards so you can spend them in Hall of Fame. For example, over here you can have exclusively marble roads in a single island that has the town above level 5. Then you would get 30 points to use over here in Hall of Fame. Let's go a bit back now. The next thing nearby your profile is the research. The research is unlocked once you reach tier 2 of your population and you have 3 separate paths. We're not going to go in depth in the research tree because it's quite a lot. What I'm gonna say is make sure you always research something. If you don't research anything, basically the research points that you're getting per minute will be totally wasted, and yeah, why waste them when you can have a research running? Then the next thing is population, balance, and the current bank account that you have in denaries. Clicking on any of them will always go to production. Below it, you're having your workforce of that specific island. Over here, for example, I have 6 Libertus workforce, 23 plebeian workforce, which is tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4. You can have up to 5 types currently. If we're gonna move to Albion and check this island over here, we can see all of the types that we're having. Now let's go back to Latium. Then on the top left side, you will receive interactions with your NPCs or decisions that you manually need to take. These, for example, in this case, Zaranitu is requesting a defense pact. Well, I'm not going to accept it because it's not that great to accept defense pacts from your rivals. You can do it. We're gonna learn in further guides when and when not to accept defense pacts. Moving further, still at the top left corner, from time to time you will receive notifications. These notifications mean the stuff that are happening around your city. Some of them are really spammy. For example, that Diana completed a trade notification. In order to remove some notifications, you can actually press this gear icon while the notification is available, and you can either mute it and no sound will be made whenever the notification pops up, or you can stop receiving the notification altogether. This is one of the ways to do it. There will be a simpler way to do it rather than hunting it down, and we're gonna discuss it later down the line. For now, let's move on to the next icon, namely the quests. This is where all your quests are being tracked. You will have a multitude of quests, and in order to switch between them, you can actually click them and you're going to see whichever quest is available and tracked at the specific time. Please note that some of the quests will be timed quests. In that case, a timer will appear nearby the quest. Make sure you complete those quests in a timely manner. Next, we have the notifications tab. As mentioned before, a notification will pop up in case you missed one. You can find all of them in here. There are a total of 4 separate tabs and 3 different categories. Starting with the first category is the warnings. Over here are stuff that are missing in your island and require immediate attention. For example, I'm having a workforce shortage in one of my islands. I might choose to ignore it, I might not choose to ignore it. Or one of my trade routes are having problems delivering stuff. All of the notifications, all of the warnings will appear over here, and you can scroll through them and see whenever they appeared in the past. Apart from this, you got the general notifications. In here, these are the spammy-ish notifications that appear. Like, for example, someone completed a trade in your islands, or a research was fully done researching. The third tab is characters. Basically, every time you interact with a character, it will start a dialogue. Let's click over here, for example, on a village. There we go. This Libertus is starting to talk. All of the notifications will appear over here. For example, this Libertus. The most annoying... Thank you for interrupting me, but still, the most annoying notification that you can get is this one.
It has been 4 hours, Ere. How about a little exercise?
Ben, we don't need to be reminded. We can play for 12 hours if we want. Also, a ship is under attack over here by the pirates most likely. Ignoring that, let's go to the next notification setting category. In here, you can enable or disable notifications completely. You can mute them so no sound gets popped up, or you can actually disable it completely with absolutely no problems. Now, not all notifications are here, however, the most important ones and the most spammy ones are indeed here. For example, I consider the trade and trade routes to be the spammiest ones possible. The rest can be left enabled with absolutely no problems. Now that we're done with notifications, let's go to the next one. Research. Research does the same exact thing as the above one that I've explained previously. It opens the research panel where you can queue up researches. To quickly access research, you can actually press Ctrl T and it will go to the research panel with absolutely no problems. To be honest, I haven't used this shortcut too much because it's over here. I can click a button. Then you got religion. The shortcut for it is Ctrl R, and if we go into it, we can manage all of the gods on the separate islands that we have. I'm not going to go into depth in what gods to select for what, because they require their own specific guide. However, be aware that they are split into two sections. You got the local gods that only affect the island selected over here, and then you got the global exaltation effects. Basically, the more people that pray to that specific god, the more exaltation you're gonna get and the more bonuses you're gonna get. Let's take, for example, Neptune. By general, each single god, the first unlock is a shrine. The shrine, you can build it using concrete. We're gonna discuss it in a further topic. The second upgrade is usually either an active upgrade or a passive upgrade. For example, for Neptune, buildings that are nearby the sisters will grant additional belief. If you don't know what a cistern is, no worries, you're gonna find out in later guides. Or, for example, Mars, once you reach a specific exaltation, you will unlock gladiators to be recruited in your barracks. Another good example is on Ceres. Basically, all farms will support up to 50% more field modules, and it will increase the productivity up to 50%. Of course, the next exaltation is storage limit on all of your islands, be it in Latium or Albion, increases by 300 tons. And there's a lot of bonuses over here that come at play. As I mentioned, they're gonna require their own specific guides. Let's escape this one and go to the next thing, Prestige. Prestige is accessed by doing Ctrl Y, and in here it's the island prestige that you're having. Prestige is the way that your governor villa can access more specialists to be slotted in. For example, each individual ballpoint from here will add an extra specialist slot to add to your governor villa. Each rhombus from above will add extra officia to add to your island. To be honest, I almost never build officias. There are some specific places where you're gonna need them, this window will be slightly pretty useless for you at the end game or even at the beginning. Moving further, the next one is trade routes. In here, I will have a dedicated guide for it. Just know that currently you can set up trade routes and also you can group routes together. In order to create a new group, just click on any of the trade routes already created and you can click on create new group. To rename a group that you already created, simply rename the group. Nothing more. And also to rename a trade route, just rename it from here. Nothing too crazy going around. You can also filter trade routes that are transporting specific things. You can also filter trade routes based on their islands that are being transported to. So for example, for Ceres, these are all the trade routes that interact with this island over here. And that's kind of all about trading. Let's go back to the next thing. The next one is diplomacy. To access the diplomacy tab, you can do Ctrl D or just click on this button. Let's go through. One of the most annoying things when you're accessing the diplomacy tab is that the characters will start discussing between them and interrupt you, especially when you're making videos. Anyway, Voda, please shut the fuck up. Let's check the most important things that I consider around here. For example, clicking on Zara's portrait, we can go into enter negotiations. Over here, you can actually check the statistics, how you are comparing to her. You can compare the army power, the naval power, defensive, economics, and prestige. Apart from this, you can see her story. You can also see the character difficulty and the traits. Basically, this will give you an idea what this character likes and what you should focus on in order to improve the alliance with her. For example, she likes to do research, so doing new discoveries and having more knowledge, it will increase your standing with her. Also, there are some traits that I don't know exactly what they do, for example, recruits and hanging gardens. She really likes the idea of aqueducts. Anyway, this is not that important. The next tab is the one that is more important. Basically, you can form an alliance with her. Having an alliance will increase the knowledge that you have across all islands by 10%. It will decrease the aqueduct upkeep to minus 15%. And also, she's gonna provide you 1 ton of hand mirrors every 10 tons of charcoal sold. How on earth does this make sense? I have no clue. Why she's a fan of charcoal, I don't know. Anyway, apart from this, she can be recruited as a specialist later down the line. Recruiting her costs a lot of money. You can be a consul and, for example, in this playthrough, it costs me 3.9 million denarii in order to recruit her as a specialist. Be very careful. All of them only affect patrician residences, at least at what I am aware of. Basically, you need here 4 residences in order to get the bonuses. As we can see here, the bonuses are for knowledge. It also provides equal amounts of plebeian workforces. The knowledge from library will increase and the prestige from library will also increase. Apart from this, in order to request an alliance with her or appoint as a specialist, you need to do some discoveries firstly. If we're going to go to the research tree a little bit, over here, you can see that requesting alliances is far down in the research tree. It's under the civic research and it takes for me at least 23 minutes to research when I'm having 13,000 research points. Albeit I have the research turned too slow because I am playing on a legendary mode. For the other type to appoint specialists, you're going to need to go way further in the research tree. Going back to the diplomacy, you can also request defensive pacts and non-aggression pacts. Be very careful, these will trigger a timeout. So for example, if I'm going to request a defensive pact with Zaranitu at the moment, I will also automatically get a non-aggression pact. Now if I want to break the defense treaty, this will cost me some timing. For example, let's do that now and afterwards reload the game. As we can see, the non-aggression pact takes 30 minutes. During these 30 minutes, I cannot declare war on her. Well, let's move a little bit backwards and let's check the next button, namely center diplomacy view on the character. This is very important whenever you want to declare a war, because you're going to see with which characters you have defensive pacts. For example, Zaranitu over here has a defensive pact with Concordia. Now, if I'm going to attack Concordia, Zaranitu will also get pissed and attack us. Remember that with Zaranitu we got an aggression pact? Well, that aggression pact means nothing if you're going to declare a war. Let's also view now the war declaration menu. You can have two types of wars. You have an all-out war, basically everything is permitted, and you're going to kill everything. Trade ships, houses, their population. Basically, you're gonna go into a full genocide mode, and if you're going to do so, the Emperor will get pissed. Then you got the limited war. In a limited war, only military buildings are targeted. Be very careful, military buildings also mean your trade post and your warehouses. If they get a chance to attack your warehouses, they're gonna do it. Going into a limited war usually costs less reputation to do. Going to a limited war, usually it's the safer option because it doesn't involve attacking your own trade ships. As I mentioned before, Zaranitu has a defensive pact with Concordia. Also, as we can see again, Zaranitu, we have a non-aggression path with her that lasts for 30 minutes. Now, in Ubisoft style bugs, what do you think is going to happen if we're gonna declare a limited war? Theoretically and logically, Zaranitu should not attack us because we got a non-defensive pact that is active for 30 minutes. Well, if we're gonna send a war declaration, let's see what's gonna happen. Whoopsie daisy, Zaranitu is also attacking us. Therefore, be very, very careful when you're declaring limited wars. It's a bit of a clusterfuck over here. It should not happen like this, but hey, Ubisoft is Ubisoft. Also, be very careful, attacking people will decrease your standing with the governor, but it will also increase the standing with the Emperor in some specific scenarios. That scenario is whenever the NPC you're attacking has negative standing with the Emperor. In that specific scenario, you're going to gain reputation with the Emperor. And this was quite a lengthy topic. Let's move on to the next one. Continuing our counterclockwise progress, the next thing that we're going to discuss is island fertilities. This one, it's going to be discussed in a different topic. To see which island fertility you should capture, just know about their existence currently. The next buttons that will appear is the river slots. Basically, clicking on each single one will go to the specified river slot and it will center on it. You can either go to the building of that said thing, let's say for grain mills, I can select and put the grain mill over here, or I can actually click on this said river slot and everything that I can build will be automatically shown to me. Cycling through them is by just clicking the button. Similarly happens to the mountain slots. This way I can cycle through all of my mountain slots that I have on that specific island. Moreover, clicking on the mountain slot will also pop up the things that I can install on that said mountain slot. Continuing further, we have the change province button. In here you can see the world map firstly, which will show currently only Albion and Latium, and the trade ships that are going between the two. Moreover, currently this view is pretty useless since you only got 2 locations. In later DLCs, we're gonna see way more locations. For now, let's return back to Latium. And why not change to Albion? As we can see over here, for Latium, you can use the keyboard shortcut keypad 1 or keyboard shortcut keypad 2. Let's press the keypad 2 and boom, we are now going to Albion. Similarly, if you want to go back to Latium. Let's move even further down the line and you have the province map. Over here you have a statistics about the islands you have conquered and what resources there are on that said island. For me, this UI is pretty useless currently. I don't know, let me know down in the comments if you find it somehow useful and I am missing the point of it. The next things that you're gonna see is the speed, the time speed. You got pause, you got normal speed, then you got 2x speed and 3x speed. There's also a shortcut in order to switch between them. You got numpad plus in order to increase the speed, or numpad minus in order to decrease the speed or pause the game. The last thing over here is the time of day. You can set the time of day to whatever time you want and you can permanently enable it and it stays like this. Basically, it's good for taking screenshots or cinematic views. For the keyboard shortcuts for cinematic views and screenshots, we're gonna discuss a bit later down the line. That's kind of all it is over here, nothing too fancy-pancy. Let's go now to the next thing in here, namely the ornaments. Basically, in here you have access to multiple ornaments. All of them are costing denarii in order to be built. These ornaments also will allow you to increase your province's island prestige. Currently, the island prestige is 2.62k. If I'm going to add some of these trees to my location over here, my island increased a little bit. As you can see, it's 3000 now, and we have 387 from the trees itself. This is a fast, cheap, and easy way to increase the prestige of your island. Moving further, after exploring the ornaments, we can go into the build mode. Now, the build mode over here is separated into categories. The default category you're going to have access to is the construction. Basically, this is where your roads are, where your warehouses, houses, aqueducts, harbor stuff, military stuff like defenses, walls, barracks, etc., emergency building stuff, shrines that we discussed during religion, and the governor villa is located. Moreover, you also have access to tools. This tab over here, the construction tab, is the very first one you got access to. Whenever you are building your first residence, the Libertus residence, at the start of the game, a new tab, Liberty tab, will be unlocked. Over here, you're going to have everything related to Liberty. In here, I'm going to do a guide for each specific tier in order to understand how to increase their needs, what production buildings you got access to, how to focus on the production, what gods you need to take. Basically, these will be discussed in later topics. Of course, in Latium, you only have 4 tiers, so in total, you got 5 tabs, as we can see over here. However, if we're gonna go to Albion, things change around. basically you got way more races. You got the tier 1 race, the Waders, and then you got the Celtic path, basically the Smiths and Aldermen, and then you got the Mercators and the Nobles from the Roman path. We're going to discuss how to upgrade each building to the next tier later down the line when we're going to discuss keyboard shortcuts. For now, let's move back to Latium and continue explaining around here. The next thing that we're going to discuss is the shortcuts that you have around here. As you can see, by default, it's assigned to dirt roads, to Libertus residences, to warehouses, emergency buildings, and aqueducts. However, these slots are actually quick slots. In order to change them, you can either select a building and then press Ctrl 1 for the very first slot over here. Now, whenever I'm pressing the keyboard 1, it will center it on that specific building. We can do the same with ships. Doing Ctrl 1 on the ship will slot it over here. Now, it's not limited only to your own ships. You can also select an enemy ship or an NPC ship and also assign it over here. Why would you want to do this? I am not sure. But for example, I did assign it on Ctrl 2. The entire set of shortcuts also continue on the other side of the screen. Basically, these buttons over here are also shortcuts. Each one is number 6, number 7, 8, 9, and 0, as we can see over here. In order to reset a shortcut, you can right-click on it and it will go back to normal. For now, we're going to skip the resources and go to the demolish. In order to demolish things, you have multiple ways to do it. Clicking this pickaxe will enter demolish mode, and you can demolish things. You can also enter demolish mode by pressing the X button on your keyboard. As we can see over here, it is totally doable. Then there's another way. Basically, you can select a building and hit the delete button on your keyboard, and it will do the same exact thing. The next one is the relocate tool. Because I'm playing on a legendary mode, I don't have access to relocation. That's why it's grayed out for me. The next one is upgrade. When it comes to upgrading, this one is a bit more special. Basically, you can hit the U key in order to enter the upgrade mode, and it will show you all the buildings that you can upgrade. The upgrade is not only available to residential buildings, it's also available to bridges or to roads or even to warehouses or ports. Currently, all of them are upgraded on my side, but here's a warehouse that I am ready to upgrade and I can upgrade it. Now, when it comes to downgrading, you can press the U key to enter upgrade mode and then hold the Alt button, as it says over here, in order to enter the downgrade mode. You can downgrade buildings to their previous tier. For example, I have downgraded the patricians to X without absolutely no problem. The upgrade is a bit more special when it comes to Albion. Let's move a little bit in Albion. In Albion, whenever you are upgrading a water that is ready to be upgraded, let's go on another island where it's ready to be upgraded. For example, over here, you can choose either the Roman path in order to go towards Mercators or Nobles, or you can choose the Celtic path, which goes towards Smiths and Alders. Now you can sit over here and upgrade every single building manually, or depending at your beginning choice that you have, by default it will be upgraded to that thing. As we can see over here, it's selected the Roman path. We can move it to the Celtic path by clicking this button over here, or if we're going to check the upgrade tooltip, we can see Roman upgrade is keyboard shortcut Y, and now it will be upgraded to Roman, Or Celtic upgrade is keyboard shortcut I, and we're going to upgrade to CELTS. And also you can change orientation of buildings by just pressing the dot button once you have the building selected, in case you don't like how the building is oriented. Apart from this, the next one is copying. Now, copying is an extremely useful tool. As you can see here, I like to do things in a pattern. Basically, this is the default pattern that I'm using. Is it the correct pattern? No. Is it recommended? I don't know. It's just what I'm using. Basically, to create this pattern, usually I am doing, let's find a free spot around here, building spot. Let's say that I'm going to follow this pattern. 3 residences, 2 and 3 residences, and everything with roads between them. Now I can build this one manually every single step, or I can use the copy tool, copy the whole thing, and simply plonk it wherever it's needed. For example, over here with absolutely no problems. You can rotate things by pressing the middle mouse button while you have the thing selected, as you can see over here. You can also do diagonal construction, and in this case the rotation will happen diagonally. I'm not sure why it's not happening currently. Or you can also enter planning mode or press the V button on your keyboard, and basically these will be set up as planned. Basically only the roads will be constructed and nothing more. The last thing is the cosmetic tool. It's used if you want to change skins on stuffs. I don't have that many things to change skins on. Let's say the governor villa over here. As you can see, by pressing these buttons, it will change the skin of it. It's usually very small additions to the area. Also, Ubisoft bug again. Basically, these flags should have been yeah, these flags should have been in line with the roof. Oh well, shit happens. That's all about the cosmetic tool. Let's move on to the next one. And the next one is ships. There's also a keyboard shortcut for that, pressing the N button. Over here you can see all of the ships you got access to. You can filter by the idle ships, by the ships in transit, by the trading ships, and also the ships that are in guarding missions. I am going to move now back to Latium, where I have multiple ships, to explain further things in here. Now let's say that I want to select multiple ships at once. I can either click on a ship and then control click on other ships that I want to add to the selection, or I can also click on a ship and then holding shift button down, I can click up to what ship I can control. For example, I'm going to do all of these over here. I can also add or deselect ships by holding shift, and it will do the same thing. Moving to the next button, namely the land troops, and it's awfully similar to ships. Simply select a troop from here, you can go to it, and you can also assign it to a button. For example, control 1, assign it to 1. As we can see, I can control the troops around here with absolutely no problems. Similarly to ships, I can do control 1 and they're gonna be assigned to area. Apart from this, you have this button over here in land battle, auto combat. I do not recommend turning it on over here. Now, why I can't recommend auto combat? Let's take this island example. If I want to attack this island and I have auto combat enabled, you might wake up with your troops going to attack this warehouse over here while they are in the range of both the archer tower and these two gates over here. Basically what it happens is that you are going to take useless damage. Therefore, have auto combat turned off unless there's a very specific scenario. For example, there's another island being attacked and you want to auto combat over there. The next thing that I totally omitted to talk about is the resources panel. Basically, in here you got all of the resources that you're going to need to build your islands. You got timber at tier 1, tiles at tier 2, concrete at tier 3, and marble at tier 3, then mosaic at tier 4. Also, tier 0 or tier 2 is the charcoal burner. Basically, in order to access the production chain of each resource, you can click on it and you can access it from here and see whatever resources are needed in order to build said thing. Now, when you're going to go to Albion, you're going to notice that you have more resources and different resources over here. You got timber, which is by default unlocked. Then you got waddle and daub. This is the Celtic path upgrade. Once you unlock smiths, waddle and daub will be accessible. Then you got tiles. For this one, you're going to need mercators unlocked. Afterwards, you got concrete. For this one, you're going to need nobles. Then granite, and for this one, you guessed it, you're going to need alderman. Charcoal is by default everywhere. Now, the right side of the screen is fully reserved for the info panel of objects you are selecting. For example, if I select this house, as you can see, the Libertus residence, I can see the active effects and I can also click on different things. Basically, it's a dynamic area wherever things appear. Then you got the game pause button over here. Basically, hitting the space bar does the same thing, or clicking that button is identical. Afterwards, you got the menu button. Please don't be an uneducated Libertus and click this button. Literally go for the escape button. It's way simpler to just hit the escape key with absolutely no problems. Afterwards, you got the city level. Basically, having more island population will increase your city level. Now, the increase comes with some drawbacks. You're always going to have less happiness, less health, and less fire safety. But at the same time, every single residence inside your island will get extra belief, extra knowledge, and extra prestige. Moving further, you can rename your islands to whatever you want using this title around over here. Afterwards, you got the patron god selected for that specific island. Going further into statistics, you have the island income, which will show you the total income on the island itself. Please note that this income only refers to the positives. It does not include the upkeep of buildings. In order to see the upkeep of buildings, you're going to need to hover over this one or go into the production governance area over here in order to see exactly the upkeep, gain and losses, and the balance your island is generated. Similarly, it will be for every other thing that we're gonna discuss about. But afterwards, you got the island population. We already discussed how the island population works. Then you got the research for this specific island. Be very careful. Research can trigger also festivals. You can have one festival per each single island. For example, in this island, in Series Island, I only have 1.3k island knowledge. Over here, I can trigger a Literia Festival of Learning every 3 hours and 18 minutes. If I'm going to go on an island that has way more research, this one has 6.1k, I can see that the frequency of this festival is 1 hour and 22 minutes. Now be very careful, because the festivals themselves they last for 4 hours in total. And as I've mentioned, if you have a festival ongoing, there's no way to stop it. You're going to need to wait its duration to be finished and afterwards trigger a new festival. Of course, the next one is Island Believe, and similarly, this will trigger the patron gods festival, each frequency that is mentioned over here. Then you have the Island Prestige. Of course, this one also comes with a festival. The Island Health, yes, you guessed it, this one also has a festival. Happiness and Island Fire Safety. All of these also have festivals. Sadly, I don't quite... Actually, yeah, here it is one island that has positive happiness. Basically, if you are in the positives, you can trigger a festival. Apart from this, when it comes to health, happiness and fire, you're going to also trigger incidents. As you can see over here for Island Fire Safety, every 1 hour and 33 minutes, a moderate fire starts, which will affect up to 6 buildings. If we're going to go on an island with an awful negative amount, do I even have an island that has negative amount around here? Let's go to Albion. And let's see this island. Surprisingly, I don't. But basically over here, every 46 minutes, I will have a significant fire that will impact up to 10 buildings. In order to increase or decrease these amounts, either build emergency buildings or check the production buildings, because some of the production buildings will offer an area of effect. For example, this one will give me +2 denarii per minute for each affected building. So over here, if I put it here, I will have 107 times 2 extra denarii per minute, but at the same time, I will have 107 times 2 fire safety into the negatives. So let's plonk it, for example, over here. In order for this one to be able to actually function, so the bonuses are active, make sure it is connected to a warehouse and it is working. As long as the building is either paused or not having the resources to work or having a full storage warehouse, nothing will occur over here. So let's wait around. Also, please take a look at the glory of Ubisoft lag and latency around here. Yes, this video is not edited. The lag spikes that you're seeing and stutters are all from Ubisoft themselves. Also, oh boy, I can't find any other words to say while she's delivering the resources over here. There we go, resources delivered. And as you can see, the island fire safety decreased. The frequency went down from 46 minutes to 41 minutes, and now instead of 10 buildings being affected, up to 12 peoples are affected. And when it comes to island safeties, to be honest, it's perfectly fine to have them into negatives. The only rule that I have is to make sure that all of your buildings are being covered with the emergency area. As you can see over here, if I'm gonna build another vigilance around here, the rhombus means that it's already being covered by yet another vigilance, namely this one over here. The up arrow means that it will benefit from the new vigilance that I'm going to create around here. Also, the emergency buildings have a path. Basically, they have a specific range. This range can be increased if you're going to build paved roads. For example, if I'm going to, let's firstly check the vigilance range. As you can see, it reaches up until here and up until here. However, if I'm going to build a concrete road, just like this, I'm just gonna quickly concrete everything around here. This vigilance now reaches even further and by a lot. So make sure you're using concrete roads in your cities, in your city areas. And we are back at the profile picture that we started at the beginning. But the video is not done yet. There are some obscure key combinations that I couldn't fit anywhere, and I couldn't find a UI counterpart for them. Let's see the planning mode. We did already discuss about it, but let's bring it back because it's one of the popular key combinations that you're going to use. Whenever you're building a building, you can access the planning mode over here, or you can toggle it on and off by pressing the V key as mentioned over here. Diagonal construction, also you can check it over here and you can put buildings diagonally. Let's take the road. As you can see, diagonal construction currently is deactivated and the road takes 90 degrees turns, or if I'm going to activate it, it will go into diagonal construction and there's no 90-degree turns. And speaking of streets, you can actually press the R button to build a dirt road, or the Shift R button to build a paved road. The next shortcut that is nowhere mentioned in the game is the ruins shortcut. Some buildings will be in ruins, will be destroyed. Now you can either wait for the timer to expire and the building will be rebuilt for free, or you can cycle through all of the ruins you have by pressing the J button on your keyboard. J from Jerry, and it will cycle through all of your destroyed buildings, no matter the location where it is. As you can see, it's automatically cycling between Albion and Latium, because on Latium I have a single destroyed building, whilst on Albion I have 3 destroyed buildings. This key is found indeed in the settings, but it's nowhere mentioned in the UI. And it's a very useful key to make sure that none of your buildings are destroyed. I usually press this key quite often to make sure that I don't have destroyed buildings around my playthrough. Now for the next thing. Let's say that you are in the middle of your island and you don't have a warehouse nearby in order to click it and see the resources, or you don't want to scroll to your trading post in order to see the resources of the said island. No worries, you can press the letter K on your keyboard, K from kilo, and it will automatically open the storage of that said island. This is a very quick way to check everything related to the island itself. And while we are on this topic, let's also give a few pointers about the trading post. In the trading post, you can upgrade the trading posts in the first tab over here, and you can see the ships loading and also the land loading, that you have the loading slots. Then you can access the goods of that specific island. Now, when clicking on a specific good, you have an option to do something with it. For example, in the single good tab, you can either have no trade, buy when under a specific threshold, or sell when above a specific threshold, or keep everything at a specific desired length, either buy it when lower or selling it when higher. Also, you got the minimum stock. Basically, minimum stock means that your sellers will not sell below this level, and also your trading routes will not take items from this island unless you got more than the specified minimum stock. I recommend, based on my testing currently, the minimum stock to be set to 10. It highly depends how your trade routes function, but I went with 10 and it satisfies me quite well. The next thing, instead of clicking individually on every single good over here and setting it up individually, you can click on all goods, and this will allow you to set everything for every single good on the island. You can sell it above 150 and have for every single good a minimum stock of 10. Now, how does this also interact with the single goods? Well, let's say that on all goods I want to only keep a minimum stock of 10 and I don't want to sell goods. Well, in this scenario, as you remember, we have on bronze bars maintained a stock. Basically, whenever you're editing a good, it will be automatically logged from the exception list. Basically, all goods will not interact with the good that you have set it up. You can unlock it by clicking this button or relock it back by yet again clicking the button. That's how this functions over here. The last button is the specialists and bonuses. Basically, you can see over here all these specialists which are docked in your trading post and also the account rewards. For example, the material pack and also this captain over here that is included as an account reward. Now, when it comes to captains, I want to specify something about account rewards. The account rewards, basically you cannot lose them. So for example, let's say that I have this ship over here. Let's allow it to go to the trading post, and I'm going to put Merrypath as a captain to this ship. Now let's say that with this ship we're going to attack pirates. Let's mimic the attacking by right-clicking the captain to unequip it. There we go, and this captain over here is lost to sea, let's say it like this. But because it's an account reward, it won't be dropped down. Let's test it with a normal captain that is not an account reward. Basically, this one, if I'm going to go into the middle of the sea, and let's assume that this ship will be taken down, the captain will be actually thrown overboard like this. And you are going to need to rescue him with another ship before he times out and dies. And let's go back to explaining other keyboard shortcuts. Let's assume that you have quite a lot of buildings around here that have full output storage. For example, like my porridge farm over here. I can individually go and pause every single building over here, or I can hit the shift key and pause all of the buildings which are similar at the same time. Unpausing is the same. You can also do B or Shift P, it works the same if you are a mouse hater. Now, let's talk about the cinematic shots. Well, you got keyboard shortcuts for those two. Pressing F1 will allow you to enter postcard view. Basically, tooltips will be deactivated and you can take screenshots of your islands. Another good one is Control H. Control H will hide your UI and it will make for a very clean screenshot. There's a problem although. You can see the tooltips on your buildings. In order to get rid of them, you can do Control I and it will be hidden. Another cool feature is that you can do Control Shift R and enter third person view. Basically, right now I can go and walk the streets through the island that I have over here. By pressing Tab, I can change to either a soldier or an archer or go back to the normal governor skin. Now, you can attack while you are a soldier or an archer by clicking left click, but the attack will have absolutely no effect. This is purely visual and nothing more. Similarly, with the guard, you have a pokey stabby animation, but it does absolutely nothing during the war. You can take control of stuff by simply hovering over it. As you can see, currently this horse guy is highlighted. I can click on it and become the horse guy itself, and I can ride my slave around the town like this. The same thing can happen to ships too. You guessed it. Let's have a ship. Let's say this one over here. We can do Command Shift R on the beach itself and then go towards the ship and select the ship. There we go. Now we are sailing this ship ourselves. You can control the ship with WASD, of course. And yeah, if you don't like the view over here of the sails, sadly, you cannot change the view. So, yeah, you can enjoy the ride and see what things are present around here. There we go. Perfect. You can always click escape in order to escape the ship riding or whatever. The last gimmick you can do in third-person mode. Let's go over here to an aquaduct. Let's see if I can get into it. There we go. You can actually ride the aqueduct by clicking on it. It's a bit finicky, it's a bit weird, but it is doable. The direction you will ride the aqueduct, I don't know if you can set it up, but basically I think you can't. Let me check again.
Get down from there!
Thank you for telling me to get down from here. But yeah, you can ride aqueducts if that's something you fancy around here. I don't know how to turn around currently, but it's something that you can tell me in the comments about it. And let's go a bit further. Maybe we can ride the aqueduct from here for a better view. There we go, and we can look left and right and see our buildings directly from the aqueduct source itself. Of course, wherever you have a turning point, it will also turn. And this is a way to just admire your village around here. And that's all the keyboard combinations and UI fully explained in depth. And if you're wondering what I am playing over here and on what difficulty setting, well, this is an endless mode map, and more exactly, it's a legendary run. A thing I learned by doing guides for city builder games is that once you bring a guide out of context, it's not as helpful as a real experience. Therefore, if you're interested in viewing how I got to this point of the game, please do check my Legendary Run playlist. It will be included at the end of the video. Similarly, if you're interested in other guides, just click at the end the playlist for the guides. Also, let me know down in the comments what other key combinations I have forgotten to present, or suggest me other guides that you're interested in watching. If I haven't done the guide yet, I will do it based on your recommendation, or if I did the guide already, I will reply with the link to that guide to your comment. And also please do like the video, since it helps with the video visibility, allowing to reach more governors like yourselves. And hey, while you're at it, you might also subscribe to the channel to stay tuned with new guides that I'm going to post for Anno 117. And also, I'd like to say thank you for these wonderful members. They are not only supporting the channel, but also they are getting early access to my Let's Play videos. And also, this guide was possible because they are motivating me to do this. Well, until next time, I've been the Honey Badger, and I'm out.